Hello everybody, welcome back. And if you're new, my name is Chris. About a month ago, I was asked to do a video regarding my choice or my top picks for fragrances that are marketed towards men or more unisex or shared fragrances that were good for the fall, the autumn, and the colder months. So it only took me a month to get this video going. So if you're interested to see what I have chosen for this video, fragrances that I believe are great for the fall and colder months that are marketed towards men or unisex fragrances, well, please keep watching. So I'm going to run through these fragrances fairly quickly, I think more quickly than normal. Listen, I grew up in a house of boys. I have 3 brothers, and so I know once I start talking and my mouth starts moving, the clock is ticking. So here we go. I'm going to jump right in with the first one. It's by Diptyque, and this is called Boulevard, 34 Boulevard Saint-Germain. Which is named after the street that the original Diptyque shop is located on. And this is the fragrance that they came up with for the 50th anniversary. This is what I like to refer to as my upscale barbershop fragrance. It's barbershop-y in a modern way, and it doesn't have any menthol. It's just the way I like it. It's nice and spicy. It has black currant, pink pepper. It has cloves, cinnamon, iris, and woods. I think there's sandalwood in here. It's really, really nice. Even though it's completely unisex, I wear it a lot, and when I wear it, I get a lot of compliments, and people say, you smell really good, you smell nice and spicy. This has decent longevity. I can get at least a day out of it. It's not a power player, but it's not super quiet, and I love to wear this in the fall, so this is my first pick. The next one up is a vanilla fragrance, and this is a fragrance that I don't pull for very often, but it needs to be fairly cold for me to wear this. It's by the House of Guerlain, and it's called Louis. So this is a dark, strongly resinous vanilla with spices, particularly clove. It's got smoke and leather. And I do believe there's a floral note in here. I think the flower is carnation, which tends to be a little bit spicy. It has a little bit of a clove note to it. And even though this starts off very, very strong, gosh, that's really nice. I need to wear it more often. It starts off very, very strong. It dies down very quickly. I can get at least a half day out of it, but not much longer. So gorgeous, resinous, spicy, slightly smoky, leathery vanilla, which I think is great for these colder months. The next one up is very new in my collection. In fact, I just got it a couple weeks ago. It has been on my wish list for a long, long time, and it is from the house of Initio Parfums, and I usually limit myself to 1 Initio purchase per month for obvious reasons. And I don't know why I waited so long for this one. It is a gorgeous fragrance. I think this is universally loved, a great shared fragrance, or even slightly masculine leaning, and this is called Blessed Baraka. This is a spicy, ambery fragrance. It's spicy and sweet, and I definitely feel like I get a little bit of cinnamon out of this. Oh, that smells, I just love this fragrance. It's woody. There's got to be sandalwood in here. It's resinous, woody, spicy, gorgeous amber. I'm a big, big amber lover. So I will love pretty much any amber. There's something about the Initio Parfums. I just love basically everything they create. I'm a big, huge fan. This one is not the powerhouse that Atomic Rose is, but it's still, I get great lasting power, at least 5-6 hours out of the times that I have worn this. And if you like something similar to Fragrance du Bois, New York Intense, you would probably like this. It reminds me of that. There are a couple up here that have a similar scent profile. This is not as strong and it's not as spicy, but it smells very similar. It is gorgeous, and I highly recommend this one. The next one up is a fragrance that I stumbled across about a month ago. I had no idea. I'd never heard of the brand Cremo. I think I'm the only person on the planet that didn't realize that they sell shaving related products, and so I went ahead and saw this fragrance that was named Spice and Black Vanilla, and I'm a big spice fan, I'm a big vanilla fan, so of course I'm going to pick up a bottle of this. In addition, it was only $20. So this one is Spice and Black Vanilla. It is a eau de toilette formulation, and I just posted this on Instagram, and apparently there has been some change in the formulation with regards to the ingredients. The notes in this are bourbon vanilla, cashmere woods, and vetiver and cardamom. So that is my formulation. That was what is on the box. This is a gorgeous spicy vanilla. Look, this one is not super complex. It's not going to take you on a wild ride. It is a straightforward, very nice, spicy, creamy vanilla. Yeah, it smells like chai spices to me. So this is a vanilla. This is a creamy, kind of a smooth, it is bourbon vanilla, is a creamy, smooth vanilla that's not overly sweet. To me, there's definitely like a chai spice going on that's probably from the cardamom. It's a little bit woody. I don't get a whole lot of vetiver, maybe in the dry down. Yeah, it's not overly sweet. It's fairly linear, but linear is good if something smells really, really nice. It's quiet because it's an eau de toilette. It doesn't last forever, but while it lasts, it smells really good. Like I said, it is incredible fragrance, particularly for the price. This was only $20 or $22. So also had someone ask me if this smells similar to Spice Bomb Extreme. So in this house, we only have Spice Bomb, not Spice Bomb Extreme. We did a side by side. They're very similar, but there are differences. I think Spice Bomb is spicier. It's a little bit, there's more wood in there, a deeper wood. The vanilla is not as prominent and creamy, and it has more complex spices, but they are similar. I will admit they are similar. So yeah, a great fragrance for the fall. This next fragrance is a compliment getter. If you wear this, I can pretty much guarantee you are going to get a compliment, because it is just, I don't know how else to describe it other than amazing, delicious, and it's a sexy fragrance. Okay, I went there. And it is by Carolina Herrera. I had I think 5 or 6 fragrances from the Confidential line, and then one of my friend Veronica, said you have to get a hold of Sandal Ruby. It is just amazing, and she was so right. So I am so glad I got this one, Sandal Ruby. This is gorgeous, and if you have this in your house, you might want to lock it up, because other people are going to steal it from you, and they're going to want to wear it, because it's just that good. This is a deep, woody, slightly spicy amber floral fragrance. There's a lot going on in here. I know there are florals in here. The florals are tuberose and geranium. For me, I don't get a ton of florals. They're just, everything's so well blended in this, but they're very, very well blended. They are overshadowed by the spices here. There's black pepper, there's cinnamon. I definitely get cinnamon in here. There's an amber accord. There's some woodiness in here, cedarwood or sandalwood, and there's definitely some gorgeous patchouli. This is the strongest, or one of the strongest fragrances that is parked in this house right now. This thing, 1 or 2 sprays will last you all day, and this is another one that reminds me so much of Fragrance du Bois New York Intense. This one is not as spicy, and it's just less spicy. It's a less spicy, maybe a slightly watered down version of New York Intense. It's not less strong, it's very strong, but it's just not quite as spicy. But very similar profile to that one and Blessed Baraka. They're gorgeous, spicy, ambery, woody fragrances. Gorgeous. It is expensive, so you want to get a sample of this first, but this is amazing. The next one up almost didn't make the list because I just about overlooked it. I only have a travel spray of it. I need to get a bigger bottle because it's so good, and it is equally loved by me and the Mister, and it is called Jazz Club by Maison Margiela. Now the Mister in my house is very picky. He doesn't like about 90% of the fragrances that I wear, but he loves this one. So I probably need to get a bigger bottle of this. But this is just another really, really nice tobacco-y, resinous, spicy fragrance. It's really good. It is, it's supposed to have, I think, rum in it. It is, I would say it's boozy. It's a little bit sweet. It's a boozy, sweet, tobacco-y vanilla. It's perfectly sweet. I like sweet fragrances, but I can tell you that this is not overly sweet. I do get some nice amber in the composition. It's a little bit peppery. There's pink pepper in here. And I think this is much easier to like than By the Fireplace. I enjoy By the Fireplace, but I think there are things about that one that are less universally appealing than Jazz Club. But Jazz Club, another good one for the colder months. Next one up is a gorgeous fragrance. If you have been following me, you know I love this fragrance as well. But it's one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. It is by Xerjoff and it is called Ivory Route. This is a fragrance I cannot imagine not having in my collection. This is stunning. I would call this a 10 out of 10 masterpiece if I dare say so myself. It is a gorgeous, sweet, peppery, spicy, slightly camphorous fragrance. It's got a little bit of aromatic something going on. It's a touch mentholated in the beginning, but as it dries down, the woods, it gets a little bit woodier and it gets a little bit spicier. It just has this gorgeous vanillic composition. Absolutely stunning. And I really only wear this in the cold weather, so there's no way that it couldn't have made my list. Ivory Route. This next one, I have a subscriber to thank who about 3 or 4 months ago said, hey Chris, you need to pick up a bottle of the fragrance called Moustache, and of course I did. If you recommend a fragrance, I'm more than likely going to pick it up. It is by the House of Rochas, I believe. And this is supposed to be very similar to Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo. And I actually had a fairly large decant of Tuxedo. I did a test side by side, and they are very, very similar. There are teensy differences, but they're basically almost the same fragrance. I don't believe this is meant to be a dupe. It just happens to smell very similar. But so if you have smelled Tuxedo, you have a pretty good idea of what this smells like. If not, this is very spicy and slightly zingy and citrusy at the top. You get pink pepper and orange. Then there is a heavy note of cedar. I love the note of cedar. It's a little tobacco-y to me. I don't think there's tobacco in here, but it's like a tobacco-y cedar situation going on. There's patchouli. And as it dries down, it gets a little bit sweeter. It's like becomes more of a resinous vanillic fragrance, but it still maintains that nice spicy woodiness. This is a gorgeous fragrance, and again, an amazing pickup for the price. If I haven't mentioned it already, $40 for a 4.1 ounce bottle. This next fragrance I have shown a couple times. I absolutely love this fragrance. It is marketed towards men, and it is by Mercedes-Benz, and is called Mercedes-Benz Club Black. This is a phenomenal fragrance. This fragrance, you take out the juice, you put it in a Guerlain bottle, sell it for $200, and you would have no problem making sales. It is a fantastic fragrance, not only just for the juice, but for the price, which, oh my gosh, I think you can get it for about $45, $50. It's so, I just love this fragrance. This is an ambery vanilla with just a little bit of smokiness, maybe a touch of incense. It is definitely, it's resinous to the point of being boozy. It's gorgeous. And this is something that I highly recommend for the colder months. This is a cold weather fragrance to me. It's gorgeous. Here's the thing, the performance has been kind of iffy. Some days I feel like, and it might just be me, it doesn't last very long. It only lasts about a half day, and other days I can get like the full day out of this. So I would highly, highly recommend this one. If you like ambery vanilla fragrances, it's hard to beat this one, particularly for the price. If you watched the video I did last week, you will recognize this one, and I tried to have as little overlap as possible, but I could not put this fragrance in this list. This is, oh gosh, this is so yummy, and one that I'm just so loving right now, and it is called Honey Oud by Montale. I have just been wearing the heck out of this. This is a gorgeous fragrance. Listen, oud is not a safe note or safe note for me at all. I can do lots of ouds. They have to be muted, sweet, and they can't be animalic or kind of barnyardy. This is none of those, and it has the most amazing honey note or accord on top of this. This is a honey that is done perfectly. It is sweet, but it's not too sweet. I get a lot of cinnamon in here. It's strong. This oud is not animalic at all. It's almost unrecognizable to me as an oud. It's more woody. And the dry down is very sweet and ambery with spices and patchouli. Gorgeous. This lasts almost all day. It's great performance, great longevity. And if you like any of those notes, oh my gosh, this is a great one. This next fragrance does not scream cold weather to me, but there are a lot of people in another hemisphere that are going into the spring and summer right now. And there are people that live in warmer climates than I do. I live in the Midwest. It gets very cold here. But where I was raised in Texas, it doesn't get super cold. During the winter, we have 3 seasons there. It's hot, really hot, and hotter than bleep. But anyway, so this is a good fragrance for people who don't have super cold winters. And this one is by the House of Hermes. Need to get a little tester strip here. And this is called Hermes Voyage. And this is the Parfum version. This is so nice. This is refreshing and zingy and a little bit deep at the same time. This is a beautiful, true to life cardamom fragrance. This has cardamom, lemon, other spices, and a really nice tea note. What I get basically is cardamom. If you're a cardamom lover, this is going to be right up your alley. If you don't like cardamom, stay far, far away. The cardamom's very prominent here. Cardamom, lemony, spicy, and it gets a little musky in the dry down. The only drawback here, it's not super strong. This will not get you all day. It'll get you a couple hours and that's about it. But it's still a great fragrance for the reasons that I said, and I wanted to mention it. I don't mention this a whole lot, and it's a great fragrance. I don't think I could have made this list without this next fragrance. This was one of the first ones I pulled for. It is another by Initio Parfums. I'm a big fan of the House of Initio. This is Side Effects. This is just such a great, great fragrance. This is a beautiful tobacco fragrance. To me, it's very dry and smoky. For the first 4 hours, this is a dry, smoky tobacco. I don't know about everybody else, but that's what I get. It's so smoky, it's almost verging on the point of being like smoky campfire smoky, but it doesn't quite get there. And right about the 4 to 5 hour mark, it changes. It completely changes and becomes kind of like this cinnamon, vanillic cinnamon fragrance, or a cinnamony vanilla. I don't get a whole lot of boozy notes in here, at least that's just on my skin, and in my experience, it's a little bit woody. Gorgeous. It's not, again, it's not as strong as Atomic Rose, but it'll get you at least, you know, a good 6-7 hours, and then it becomes basically a skin scent, or it's the scent bubble gets really, really close, but just a gorgeous fragrance for fall. This next one is another one that me and the mister have been trading off a lot in the past couple weeks. It's a big hit in this house. It's by Régime de Fleurs, and it's called Falling Trees. This is for somebody who loves how the outdoors smells. If you don't like outdoorsy, incensey, woody fragrances, you're not going to like this. But if you do like those types of fragrances, get ready for a gorgeous one. This is a woody, incensey fragrance with a touch of smokiness. Now, there is the notes in here. I think there's pine, there's probably cedar. There is, to my nose, there is a very prominent frankincense note from the incense. So this is very frankincense heavy. If you don't like frankincense, you might not like this. There's something that makes this smoky. There's a little bit of smokiness, like a woody smokiness or an earthy smokiness. There are resins in here. I believe it's benzoin, but it is not a sweet fragrance at all. And it doesn't dry down very sweet. It's more of a dry fragrance. And it's surprisingly very quiet. I guess that would be my one complaint with this fragrance. It's super quiet. Hey, if you like your quiet fragrances, if you don't want to overpower people, if you want to wear this on a date or to work, you could probably get away with it because it's not very loud. But you can still really kind of, even though it's not loud, I can smell it almost the entire day. Yeah, but it doesn't project at all. So this is one of my favorites right now. This is gorgeous, and I would love to smell this on someone else. Love it. I cannot believe I almost forgot one of the best fragrances of the bunch, and I think it's because I took a picture of this and posted it to Instagram, so I had taken it off the mantle. But certainly one of the best fragrances, if not the best fragrance of the bunch. It is a gem in my opinion, and it's by the House of Arquist, and it is called Misfit. And I first smelled this at one of my favorite fragrance shops down in Houston, and it's called Cool Lipscomb. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that correctly. If you live in the Houston area, you have got to go visit this store. Whenever I go down to visit, my family lives on the opposite end of town, and if you know Houston, you know how big it is. You can get on the highway from one part of Houston, you can drive 75 miles an hour for an hour, and you're still going to be in Houston. But I always go to the other side of town just to go in the shop and smell all the goodies. I've never seen a collection of fragrances like I have, and the people that work there are so amazingly nice and kind, and I always get a bunch of really nice treats when I go there. And so again, Misfit, this is, when I bought this, I had smelled I tested about 50, 75, I don't know, maybe close to 100 fragrances over a 2-hour time span. And this was mine and my husband's favorite. This is the one we liked the most. I'm so glad I bought it because I think it's basically sold out right now. I checked yesterday, you really can't find it anywhere, at least in the States. If you can, maybe it's still at Cool Lipscomb. You should, and if you live in Houston, you should swing by there and give this guy a sniff because it's an amazing fragrance. When I purchased it, I did not realize that this actually won. This was the winner for the Fragrance Foundation Indie Fragrance of 2021. And I can see why. This is just a gorgeous fragrance, particularly if you are a patchouli lover. If you love patchouli, I'm going to say that I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is a must try. This is not blind buy worthy. It's expensive, but it's a must try for sure. This is a spicy, resinous, patchouli heavy fragrance. It does start off pretty bright. I'll list the notes. I know it has a little bit of lavender in here. It has carrot seed. I do not smell the carrot seed. And it has Angelica. Now the Angelica in this is not as prominent in Angelique Noir. I have Angelique Noir. The Angelica is very prominent. And Angelica smells, it's part of the celery family, but it smells a little bit muskier, a little bit more peppery, but it's still recognizable. But yeah, it's bright and slightly sweet, a little bit peppery, definitely bright from the lavender. As it dries down, it gets muskier. There is rose in here, I believe. To be honest, rose is not very prominent to my nose, but it does have a very heavy patchouli. There is labdanum in here. I believe there's resin, maybe tolu balsam, and a little bit of sweetness, vanilla or tonka. Just a little bit of sweetness, but not a lot. It's not a sweet fragrance, and it's not a gourmand fragrance. It's a little bit sweet, but it doesn't go into the gourmand territory to me. This is very strong. 2 to 3 sprays will get you well over 6 hours. Gorgeous fragrance. I absolutely love it, and one of the top fragrances that I would recommend to make this list. The next one is my honorable mention, and it's not an honorable mention because I don't like it. In fact, it's one of my favorite fragrances of all time. I just talk about it all the time, so I didn't want to yammer on and on in this video, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. It's Andy Tower Le du Desert Marocain, one of the most lovely, spicy, ambery, woody fragrances that I own. It's, oh my gosh, I love this. I will always have a bottle of this. You know, it's supposed to be like you're in the desert at night on the outskirts of a town where there's a lot of spice markets. So it's spicy. It has a little bit of an aromatic bite to it in the beginning. And then it kind of just dries into the most gorgeous amber. It's just, oh my gosh, this is an addictive fragrance when I wear it. I'm constantly smelling myself. I do like to wear this in the cold months, and I know that this would be very appealing. It's a perfectly wonderful shared fragrance and one of my favorite fragrances of all time. So that does it for part one, fragrances that I love marketed towards men for the colder months. I will do part two and maybe part three as we progress into the colder seasons. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for supporting me. And if you have some great fragrances that I missed and didn't mention, I'd love to hear it in the comment section. And I will see you on the next one. This next fragrance up is, I don't know what to say other than this is just a super sexy fragrance. It is Va 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 Voom. This is Shamalama Ding Dong in a bottle. Did I just say Shamalama Ding Dong? Did I say Va 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 Voom? Oh my God, my kids are gonna divorce me. I don't know how else to describe it other than saying this is just, I'm just gonna say it, this is super sexy. This is a yummy, sexy fragrance. This is just bam, wow. This next one, I have a subscriber to thank who told me several months ago, hey Chris, you need to get a bottle of this Moustache by Rochas. Rochas? Crap. Rochas? Rochas. This is Moustache by Rochas. I think it's Rochas. Ooh.